welcome back, or welcome if you're new to my channel. It's been a while since we last talked about books, so it's about time to do that again. I actually had planned to do a wrap-up video every month, but school got a lot busier than I anticipated, so we will just make a spring wrap-up. The last video I posted about books was the February wrap-up, and now there's gonna be March, April, May, and June, and for July I will try to make a separate video again. So let's get started with that.
1, 2, 3, funk it.
With some books, I'm not sure which month I read them in, so I'm also just gonna put my Goodreads on screen so you also can see my comment on it, and I will put in the date and the German version, the English version, and all that stuff. So, the first book I read that I haven't talked about yet was this one. I don't know if there's an English version. It's just basics of suing, and I just read it for school. But my problem with this book was that it was almost too basic. It were just things most people know, and also the things you can do. I mean, there are examples what you could be suing, and most of them I didn't like. Most of them I didn't found pretty, and I also found they looked a little old. I don't know if you can tell what I mean, but it wasn't a read where I wasted my time. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it was okay, and I also didn't expect much from it. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is this one, Bittersweet from Tammy Fior. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, but you can see it here. Funny story, I actually wanted to make a separate video out of it. I actually bought the top 5 Amazon books I could find, or I wrote poetry into Amazon and bought the first 5 books that came up, because I know that there are lists, but I couldn't find one. For the life of me, I couldn't find one. Doesn't matter how much I tried, I couldn't find it, so I just made it like that. And in the end, I only read this book out of the 5, and I started the second, but then so many months went by and I lost what I was doing with the video, so I just stopped making it. So to the book itself, I don't want to be too harsh, but I think even for poetry it's not that good. It's in poetry you can do a lot of different things. You can use beautiful language, you can use rhymes, you can do a lot of things. And I feel like the author here did none of these things. She used some metaphors and some words that were pretty, but that's about it. There were also some words that were in it so often. I don't know how often these words were in it. And if I remember correctly, the author actually is German. So I also don't want to be so mean, because my first language also is German. German is my mother tongue. So I know how hard it can be to write in a different language. I know how hard it can be to write English. But there's just You know, it's a difference when you do it as a hobby or if you do it as your job. It's a difference if you just have some free time and you write a little story, or if you write a whole poem collection and publish it. You know, that's a difference. I lost what I was saying. Yeah, that's a difference, and I think she knows that, but maybe she just wanted to try it out. And the thing also is, I think it's her first book, so maybe she will get a lot better. You know, I can tell that. I hope it for her. I mean, you can tell there's something. Because otherwise I wouldn't have finished it. Otherwise I wouldn't have marked some pages because I like them. Because there are pages that I like. It's just a little repetitive after a while. And that's what I didn't like. I just hope she will write another book and maybe I will enjoy that more. And long story short, that book was okay. And now let's move on to the next because I talked about it way too long already. So the next book was The Canto Ghost from Oscar Wilde. And that is the second classic I ever read. And I liked it so much. Even, or more so in comparison to Fitzgerald's classic. These two are whole other worlds. I think they're even other dimensions or something. I love that book. And after reading Fitzgerald's The Strange Case of Benjamin Button, I didn't think I would like any classic because I found it so shitty. And I'm sorry if you like classics, but Fitzgerald's writing, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take I couldn't take it how he handled females and women and all female characters. No, please, please don't. And Oscar Wilde, I really adored his writing style and also his perspective on things and also how he treated women in his book. I just think there's something very special about it. The whole book is very special, but I can't explain it without spoiling too much. So I would just recommend to you to read this book. I'm very certain that you won't regret it. And if you do, sue me. And then, last but not least, I read this book. And also, this book was German and English. It's The Terrible German Language from Mark Twain, or by Mark Twain. And this book was a surprise because I actually just saw it I basically saw this book on a vacation once and I just wanted to have it, but I wasn't really sure why. Maybe it was because of the description, but the description writing style doesn't match the inside writing style. That threw me off a little at first, but then I got over it pretty fast. Because Mark's writing style is really interesting. Also, the topic is really interesting because I am German, so German's my mother tongue. It's my mother tongue, and English is the language I'm trying to learn. It's the language I love. So it was really interesting to see both in this book. And also the book, as the title says, is about the German language and how terrible it can be. or how hard it can be. And even I, as a German person, can relate to that because, yes, German is hard. German is terrible to learn. And it was a lot of fun to find those things in this book. It was also fun to see how he tried to include the punctuation and stuff from German and put it in the English writing. I think that was very funny to see. And also, there were just so many things I adored about this book that were so funny. And I really, when I first found this book again on my bookshelf, I didn't know what to think about it. I didn't know why I have this book. And I didn't know what I would take from it because I speak German already. But it really surprised me in a really good way. And on that note, I think we can finish this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next. I basically just saw it on a wiki, and I can't talk anymore. Fuck's sake. I basically saw this book on a vacation.